Welcome back here. Hello. Oops, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the DreamHack Eizo Open live from Romania, live from Bucharest, not Budapest.
Not
Bucharest.
That's right. I had so many people get the two confused on the run-up, but they have now been educated. We are, of course, in Bucharest. We're getting into an absolutely amazing best of three now between a Serbian Terran player from Team Empire. It is, of course, BeastyQT, who's going to be going up against Mana. Now, Mana, of course, is already qualified for the DreamHack Eizo Open Grand Finals after beating Damaga at the 2012 DreamHack Summer. But he obviously has not had his fill of prize money just yet. Apollo, he fancies his chances here and wants to see if he can progress once again to an incredibly high finish, and he might be able to do that.
Yeah, you know, Mana, returning champion from DreamHack Summer, is automatically qualified for the DreamHack Winter Finals this year. So no matter where he finishes, what he does here, he can do anything he wants. He's still going to be there. But he is playing for the prize money. Roughly $22,000 on the line here. A lot of money between these two guys as we are about to jump in to this game. Mana versus BeastyQT. BeastyQT from Sweden. Cheeky. That's obviously been trolled. But BeastyQT has been living in America for a very long time, in Los Angeles with Mr. Bitter in his little Razor Academy house. And Mana has just fresh come off from living in Korea for a couple of months.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what these guys do here. We have now spawned on Daybreak, ladies and gentlemen, and we have over in the bottom right position as the red Protoss player from Mouse Sports, the champion of DreamHack Summer. What can he do here? It is Mana, who will be going up against the blue Terran player in the top right. Very macro-oriented style, hailing from Serbia, managing a top 3 finish at the MSI Battlegrounds. What can he do here at DreamHack? We have BeastyQT.
BeastyQT is from Serbia, but apparently we don't have the flag. Sorry, Serbia.
Draw it on a bit of paper, hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, sorry, Serbia. But this is going to be an absolutely fantastic Protoss versus Terran. As BeastyQT did have a bye in game number 1 from the group stage. His French opponent, Justin, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, or Jason, wasn't able to attend, so did have a bye. Mana, on the other hand, did win his first game of the group. So Mana currently 1-0. BeastyQT 0-0.
And we have a barracks going down behind the natural mineral line for BeastyQT. So maybe a little bit of a fake out, trying to get Mana to think maybe he's gone command center first or something like that. But I think with the proper scouting, when the pro pops in, Mana should be able to see that. In the meantime, yeah, that's really interesting actually. Mana's won his first game. BeastyQT got the bye in the first game. So, balancing being fresh and being warmed up, what do you think is going through the minds of these players right now?
I think Mana must be feeling very confident. It is Protoss versus Terran. It is his best matchup and has been for a very, very long time. And as we can see, even without scouting, he's just gunning for a gateway into fast Nexus here, showing a bit of balls, saying that he doesn't really care. But if that SCV gets there, unfortunately for BeastyQT, it doesn't. Could have thrown down a bit of a block, engineering-based supply depot, whatever he dare chooses. It is going to be a standard opening between these two players, you know, macro focus. But the thing is that Mana actually has a lot of pressure. As weird as that sounds for this tournament, he came back from Korea last weekend, played in the Good Invitational, the Acer-sponsored Good Invitational tournament last week, and did not perform that well. Went out day 1, just, you know, number 4 in the group of 4. So a very disappointing performance from him, considering every player that goes to Korea, when they come back, they're like, all right, Europe, America,
you're gone.
You're dead. Mine. But that's not quite how it works. So he has to show that here. Otherwise, he's going to be feeling very deflated, knowing that he spent so much time and so much effort in Korea not to be able to beat players within the Europe and American scene.
Oh, and it looks like this pro playing a little bit of hide and seek with that Marine there. But I think BeastyQT, getting a couple of shots off, and he will actually go down. He was going to enable cheat codes, Apollo, and bring down a second Marine, in which case the probe would be crying foul. But that scouting probe does, in fact, go down. And, of course, we have an additional 2 barracks popping out after the 1 max expand. Fairly bread and butter as far as BeastyQT goes. And now we have the bunker going down on the low ground as well.
Yeah, super standard opening by both so far. 2 Zealots, though, is the only difference for Mana, because he did, of course, go for the very late Cybercore, very late gas. So naturally just has to kind of change things around a little bit. Chrono Boost into the Stalker. So double Zealot Stalker will be out, and he will be able to put a bit of pressure on the map. and also be able to deny scouting too with that very late Stalker. Just wants to get it out. And there the gases are being taken by BeastyQT, just gunning towards a 3 barracks, probably Tech Lab initially, then straight to roughly 8, I think it's 845, 850 factory, so we can get the medivacs pretty damn fast out in this game. But still, deviations can occur, such as reactors, Tech Labs being added on more so than just the one for Stim.
And there we go. Well, the one for Stim is just about to pop up, like you mentioned, Apollo. And one thing that might be interesting a little bit later on is that BeastyQT has a little bit of a sneaky SCV out here in the smoke screen. So potentially wanting to get either a scout out on the third, if a third's going to be popping down later on in the game, but also, I suspect, heading into the natural or the main base to get a bit of a scout off on any tech that's going on. And wow, was that a close call. But that's what the smoke screen's there for.
Yep, going to check for a third base now, and also go in and check the gases on the natural. So it's basically saving a scan if you think about it, because a Terran player in the dark may want to use a scan, and now with that SCV out there, it's going to save him a lot of money. As that SCV does go, see no third base, and we'll go up and see the lack of gases on the natural, which means that a bunch of gateways have been thrown down, and that is a really, really important scout from BeastyQT. And he's going to try and get in the main base, and he's not going to get in there, but upon seeing no gases and a very low probe count on that natural too, he actually should be throwing down bunkers now, and if he doesn't, then he's going to be fighting with fire.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit worried as well, because Mana did actually force field off the ramp, so Beastie must be thinking to himself right now, well, hang on, what are you actually hiding from me up there? I need to be just a little bit careful, and that's exactly what he's doing. Moving some Marines back, getting that second bunker down as well. And Mana is actually going to be powering up to a decent number of gateways at the moment. A number of sentries just finished. He'll be able to get some energy off on that for force fields later on. And we have the factory now about a quarter of the way complete to BeastyQT.
Yeah, this is very, very nice for BeastyQT with double bunkers down, not being, you know, a little bit greedy with this. He knew that the gases were light. He saw the probe count was low. He even now will see all these, well, I don't know if he actually saw all the units coming down the ramp. I'm not too sure. I think Mana might have hit them quite well. But he's definitely looking for something here. Has that Marine on the left-hand side, and we'll see this in a couple of moments. No third bunker, just 2, but that's going to be good. Stim is only like 20 seconds away.
Yep. And we have a +1 infantry weapons coming down as well, but that's going to take just under 2 minutes to pop by, and it looks like Mana is now using this opportunity to move straight up the ramp. The probe does get picked off, so a pylon on the high ground to reinforce even faster is not going to be forthcoming at the moment. But here we go, Guardian Shield going up, and Mana is looking to crush this straight away. 3 good force fields coming out, and BeastyQT moving his SVs to the front, but that's exactly where the Zealots are, and they go down so quickly. Will Mana be able to break through here? The first bunker goes down, the second one, at about half health at the moment, but I think the DPS is too much. Good follow-up force field. All the bunkers are down now, and the Zealots, 3 of them still alive, albeit just. That's going to be enough, though. GG.
Unfortunately for BeastyQT, Stim wasn't quite ready.
No.
Seconds away from finishing, and he was caught out of position there. He should have pulled SCVs a lot faster than that. Should have been at the front of the bunker straight away. It was a little bit slow, and of course the force will trap them away, and as soon as the bunkers go down, everything else is going to fall as well. And Mana picks up quite a swift victory there, which I think, if there weren't mistakes made, maybe BeastyQT could have held that off. But, you know, that's whatever.
It's a little bit difficult coming down to that engagement.
Day one.
Yeah.
Stuff like this happens.
You need to be so careful. I mean, we saw, for example, the SCVs being pulled a little bit late, like you mentioned, and only the bunker in the center was actually being repaired there as Apollo gets ready for... Do it. Not quite. It looks like we've been swatting flies all morning, guys. It's been a bit of a sport here. Oh, did you get it?
No.
Oh, there we go. He's got
Goddamn Romania, there's flies everywhere. It's hot here.
They're pretty tough, man, these flies. They're huge as well. They get fed a lot, and they're fast. You don't want to mess with these guys, But only one of the bunkers was being repaired. The force fields went down at the back very, very quickly indeed. And the second bunker, well, it basically never got repaired until the force fields disappeared, and there was enough energy on the sentries for a follow-up force field, and that was that. The bunkers just couldn't survive. So excellent timing coming from Mana in game number 1. Let's see what he can do on game number 2, which will be Cloud Kingdom.
Yep, Cloud Kingdom. A very good map for Protoss here against Terran. They have a lot of success on this map recently because it is a very one-directional focus map, and if it's a one-directional focus map, then it's always going to favor the death ball eventually, and it's relatively easy to defend too in terms of the main base and natural. There's just 2 sole locations where drops can come from, and you can easily cannon High Templar it up, you can Stalker it up, you can do whatever you want, but having only 2 places to defend, and small places too, it's not like a long arc and area where you can drop in.
That's right.
It's a lot easier for Mana to hold off.
The cliff architecture as well, pretty useful for Colossi in the late game, should you want to be microing those around as well. But we'll see what happens here, guys, as we now load into the game. We're going to be going into game number 2 here of Mana versus BeastyQT. The map will be Cloud Kingdom. Let's take it away. Spawning over here in the top right position, ladies and gentlemen, is the red Protoss representing Mouse Sports. We have Mana, champion of DreamHack Summer. And he's going to be facing off against our Serbian Terran from Team Empire in the bottom left-hand corner. What can he do? He is a game down at the moment. Let's see if he can tie it up. It is BeastyQT.
BeastyQT. Took me a long time to actually realize what BeastyQT actually meant. Thought it was just 2 letters thrown on the end of his Beastie name. But if you didn't quite get it, even though I just mentioned it now, QT, like cutie pie, QT, BeastyQT.
He's pretty cute, man.
Yeah, and oh, what's the second SUV doing? All right, we're going to have a bit of a proxy barracks here by BeastyQT. Very surprising to do this when he is playing from behind.
Wow.
Usually you don't really do this when you play from behind. Mana should be playing a little bit safer now he's ahead. Usually you see this when Terran players are ahead, and maybe that Protoss players would like to try something early on, but a very early probe scout from Mana, which is nice. Oh my god.
No, he's not going to quite see that.
Okay.
Oh, so close for that being seen, and a little bit of a risky maneuver coming out of here from Beastie, but it looks like that is what he's banking his chances on to see if he can get back into this particular series.
Yeah.
Moving that around, I would say kind of the 5th base location of Mana there. A little bit difficult to scout. I think that's just outside of range. Yeah, it is, of that tower as well.
Yep.
So the probe's going to be popping up here, sees that there's no barracks by the wall off, is going to be seeing that a gas is being taken, so he'll know that a barracks is out on the map somewhere. Could we be seeing those Marauders pop out of that barracks?
And unfortunately for Mana, he's just used another Chrono Boost into the Nexus. That kind of sucks for him because he would have loved to be able to use that into the gateway. But he is checking around with the probe, just making sure, trying to find out where it is. He kind of knows where it is. I mean, he doesn't know where it is, but he knows what's coming and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
The question is now, he's going to have to get the Cybercore down immediately, of course, and then he's going to have to spend Chrono Boost into the Zealot and Stalker because he's going to have to defend against this. He may need a buffer with a couple of probes initially. It is going to be, of course, a Marauder push, but we'll see if the defense can stay put.
That's right. So we have the Tech Lab going down on the barracks now as the Orbital Command is about halfway done in the main base. I think Mana suspects what's coming, especially since he saw that gas in the main. The first Marauder coming out now for BeastyQT. He's only at 17 supply at the moment, of course. He's invested quite a lot into this. Mana is 20 to 16 workers ahead, but this kind of push is obviously designed to try and get a bunch of damage done early on in the game, and a probe does actually spot the Tech Lab, giving it a little bit of a prod. Concussive Shell is coming out for BeastyQT. That probe's actually going to get away, but is BeastyQT going to chase it? He's chasing it for a couple of seconds here, so it looks like Mana buying himself a bit of time. Is the second Marauder going to be popping out? And wow, Beastie's actually just moving away with his first Marauder, so checking to make sure the probe isn't around, but he's going to have to try and do some damage up in the main base at some point.
Oh, there's a probe inside that base. That could prove quite difficult if he gets a pylon down and throws
sneaky.
extra gateways, because Warp Gate is on the way, but with 2 Zealots down and a Stalker and another Stalker behind it, which should be there. Okay, there it is. He's going to be able to push this back. Absolutely no problem. 3 Marauders, not even a problem, because 2 Zealots will tank a lot from a couple Marauders, and 2 Stalkers will continue to do the damage necessary onto those units. And there is the factory. There is the probe scout. Not going to be used for a pylon, but he sees the second gas. He sees the factory. He knows the continuation will be a factory. Could be tanks. Could be starport. But Mana now decides upon seeing that, screw you. What are you trying to do to me?
Wow.
4 gates come down, and he's going to Chrono Burst into the Cybercore from now on, and he is actually going to try and break BeastyQ down before he can even get to tanks, before he can get to Blink, to Banshees and so on. So this is going to be a very, very fast and swift game again by either one of them, depending on who's going to pick up the victory.
Yep, and we have the probe that was hidden in the main base being chased around by an SCV now, but I think Mana might just be running around until he gets enough to build a pylon, and he might just put it down in the main base anyway and ask Beastie if he has the resources required to pick it down before it actually, before it completes, and I'm not sure BeastyQT will be able to do that at the moment. The factory has got a tech lab going down on it, and the starport's going up now, so a potential pylon in the main base. There just might not be enough DPS to take it down, Apollo.
All right, so gateways are down, and this is going to be one awkward little story here from BeastyQT. There comes the warp in.
There we go.
And this is going to be very difficult to defend. He basically has nothing at home. He's got 5 Marauders running back, and upon knowing that the units will have to come back to defend, Mana moves out the rest of his units back at home, and now SCVs are going down. He sees that this is kind of a tank or Banshee. A tank's going to come out because he doesn't have time to get a Banshee. The reactor's going to fall, and things are not looking good for BeastyQT.
That forward barracks is going to get taken out as well by this expedition from Mana, but in the main base, Zealot's attempting to do as much damage to those SCVs as possible, picking off an additional worker at the moment. 5 workers killed to 1 as it currently stands in favor of Mana, and it looks like he's actually abandoned attacking that barracks because it has lifted off and it's going to be used as a scouting racks at the moment, and we'll be able to see that Mana behind this is going to be going for his Nexus and a Robo facility too.
With 5 Marauders and a tank, Mana saw everything and has seen everything. He's like, well, you know, gateway units, even though I could have gone as a timing before units actually came out from the factory, or the factory tech tree, should I say, there was an opportunity, but now the time has been and gone. He's going to have to sit back a little bit more and immediately throw down a robotics facility. I don't even think he'll get an Observer. I think he'll go straight for an Immortal. There's no real need to go for an Observer because he's seen tank production come out, and will expect most likely here just a continuation of tank production, but he may want to build an Observer just in case that sometimes a player would play tricky, like we are seeing BeastyQT. And there is the Immortal, so it is going to be an Immortal.
Yeah, and it's a great choice as well. I mean, Immortals just do so much damage to those tanks and those Marauders as well. It's just the perfect answer to the current composition coming out of BeastyQT, and Mana's basically saying to himself, right, I want to guarantee that you're not going to be able to do any funny business, and then I'll take my game from there and decide a little bit later on what I want to go into next.
And unfortunately, this Raven's not going to be that useful in this game. Of course, BeastyQT's built it to nullify the Raven, to nullify the Stalkers, sorry, but there's 2 Stalkers. The composition is going to be mostly Immortal Sentry Zealot here. Because he doesn't need Stalkers. Why would he need Stalkers when he has Immortals? So
he needs to be channeling that gas into the Immortal and Sentry production as well.
Exactly, and he needs Zealots to tank in front of the Immortals. So, you know, he's not really going to be building that many Stalkers here, so the Raven will be pretty useless in this game. Maybe it'll be a bit more useful later on, but for the start of this anyway. There is the Robo Bay coming down, as well as an Observer, just to kind of find out, is there an expansion, is there not? And of course, information is the most crucial thing within StarCraft 2.
Yep. And it looks like we have another Swapperoonie from the factory and the starport. We're going to be going into double medevac production now from BeastyQT to support a potential push out in the center of the map. The expansion is going to go down now. We should see the orbital pop out slowly. Mana with another forward pylon near the 3rd base location now, as another Immortal getting popped out. The robotics bay will finish before the Immortal does, so we could be seeing Colossus production pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Only 3 gases, though. That's not too bad anymore. Colossus production isn't that expensive. Thermal Lance is more expensive. I mean, well, it's actually the same, but adding Thermal Lance with Colossus, I suppose I wanted to say there. It does start to add up. As you can see, 350 gas in the bank. He's going to need 400 for Thermal Lance and a Colossus. The Colossus is queued up. The Thermal Lance will begin shortly, and he'll have to take a 4th gas, unless he wants to use the lack of 4th gas to increase his mineral count for a minute and then throw down gateways and then a 4th gas. The small, minute details of StarCraft 2. Sorry if people are going dizzy right now. But so far, looking absolutely fantastic here for Mana. He's in great position. Marauder tank composition is terrible past the early stages of the game. And I don't really see Mana losing a fight at this point. You know, he may lose the game eventually, but he's not going to lose a fight for the first part. And I love this drop, but I love the better setup defense more.
And here we go. BeastyQT going to opt for a double medevac drop into the main base. Mana not quite in position, but he certainly sees the drop now if he didn't before. Those Marauders stimming and trying to get as much damage done as possible. And it looks like they're going to have to hightail it out of there pretty darn quickly indeed. He has even the workers kill tab. I mean, we have 5 versus 5 at the moment, but I think Beastie was really looking to get a bit more damage done with that. And also, I think that really shows us what he's thinking at the moment as well. I suspect he realizes he doesn't want to engage the army of Mana face to face. He might get a cancel on the 3rd, though, and there we go.
Yeah, that's really cool, because you remember I said you could overthrow minerals into gateways or take a gas faster. He threw the minerals into a Nexus. And that was a big investment, but now that's been brought down. So BeastyQT is crawling back into this game slowly but surely. He has the +1 attack down, and is going to finish in a couple of moments' time. He's got the +3, oh, not +3, sorry, what did I say, 3? I mean 3rd command center down as well. So he is crawling back into this game. He doesn't quite have the army value size because his production has been very slow and late, but it's now starting to crawl its way up. He's got a reactor and another tech lab coming down too. He's slowly putting pressure on Mana's 3rd base, and things are looking a little bit better now for BeastyQT. He's looking like he has a much healthier game number 2 in this best of 3.
He certainly does, and he's getting the Viking count up as well now. He just finished producing 2, and I suspect we might see a couple more shortly as soon as you realize Colossus production is continuing. Of course, sometimes you just build the one Colossus as Protoss and see if you can get your opponent to build too many Vikings, but we haven't stopped at one here for Mana. He's going to continue to introduce them. Excellent pick-off there of the Sentry by BeastyQT on the high ground. Really a good little bit of micro there. Of course, not going to be game-changing in the long run, but always useful to try and deprive your opponent of as much as possible.
Colossus hiding there a little bit. Was scouted and spotted with a scan. Third base going to attempt to go down again, but there is a Marine here on that third base.
Oh, and second starport down for BeastyQT as well, so potentially, and that was on a reactor as well, so potentially he can get 4 Vikings at a time should the need arise a little bit later on. That's going to give him a little bit more breathing room because it means he can react sort of with less time because he has that much production capacity. Which means that in the meantime, we could potentially see a couple of medevacs just chucked in as well for a bit more healing. Yeah,
I mean, with the second starport coming down, BeastyQT is building a composition in an army to counter before Storm, or to hit an attack before Storm. That's what he's looking to do at the moment. We don't see Storm down yet, and that is a scary thing, or Templar Archives down yet at the moment. We do have a +2 armor on the way, a cannon defense being set up, and units on the third. That's going to be fine. Mana, though, now he's comfortable because he's going to push this back, and now Mana is going to feel very, very comfortable. He's going to be like, all right, now is the time, if I want to, throw down the Templar Archives, because if he doesn't, then he's going to be facing this timing attack, and this timing attack is a deadly one. So there's the Templar Archives coming down, and he has to get Storm out immediately. He needs the gases on the third base immediately, because if he does not, then he could very easily lose this game, and the series will be drawn up.
Although, on the other hand, we did see Mana very, very nicely picking off a medevac there. And he knows that BeastyQT is trying to get Vikings out as quickly as possible to try and destroy the Colossi when the engagement occurs. So knowing that there are fewer medevacs means that the bio army is a lot less effective as well. So that's going to give Mana, hopefully, the breathing room that he's really looking for to get Storm out without BeastyQT executing this timing attack.
All right, so we do have the Ghost Academy coming down at a standard timing just to start to build towards the High Templar that should be naturally coming out from Mana as stated. And there is the movement out. Actually, I see on the minimap a big blue blob. Big blue blob making its way across the map. And that's a very scary army, a very, very scary army. SCV's coming as well, too. I think that's more of a mistake than anything else. But that's a lot of Vikings. It's very Marauder heavy. Storm is not ready. And to be honest, this actually has to be held off a little bit with sentries. I don't know if you can morph an Archon. I don't think that's going to be useful here, but it definitely is a very scary push that BeastyQT is hitting.
Yep, it's a good timing here.
He's sacking.
He's going to try and defend at his natural expansion here, and there's only a single medevac with the army, but it looks like Mana not wanting to take his chances. The expansion does go down. All the probes are saved, it's important to know. And it looks like Mana's just trying to stall out as much as he can so that his upgrades and Storm will finish. +2 ground armor will be complete so that those Zealots will be able to tank a lot more damage, and one is going to be able to do a bit of damage, but not too much at the third base.
5 medevacs out now too. Whatever happened there was going to be, it was, with 1 medevac you can still make that push, because it's just basically kill the Colossus instantly, stim, win. You know, you don't need medevacs to heal up continuously. So as soon as he killed the Nexus and realized, well, I've kind of stimmed all my units now and I'm not killing anything, you know, he has to return, he has to build medevacs and has 5 out. And now the Ghosts are coming in to complement the army, to help against the Ghosts, to help against the High Templar. And Mana is double expanding, knowing that he's pushed quite far back. And he is getting ready for an attack here, but with 2-2 drawing in for BeastyQT, I'm not sure if Mana can do this.
That's right. I mean, that production tab for BeastyQT is looking pretty good at the moment. Mobius Reactor about to complete as well, so he will have a decent number of Ghosts out with this army very shortly indeed. I like the sensor tower to be able to check if any units are popping in the front door while this attack is taking place. A scan goes down right there, so BeastyQT obviously knows that the attack is incoming at the third base, and the Orbital Command might get in the way of his own army. He needs to be a little bit careful here, and Mana really going for it. A preemptive storm on the Vikings as well. Nice feedback on the point defense drone, allowing those Stalkers again to do a bit of damage, but the Vikings are taking the Colossi apart here.
Yeah, Storm is what's winning this game for Mana right now, and good dodging so far against these Storms. There's only a couple left. There's only 2 Storms left after that one, but they are hitting, and that is actually really hitting well. No more Storms left, but he did do a lot. But the problem is he will lose his entire army. 90 supply to 133, which means one thing. a counterattack right now could win the game. As simple as that.
Yeah, the difference between having 1 or 2 more storms with that composition really is the difference between almost eliminating the bio army, because all of them were orange and red at the end of that engagement, but the storms simply weren't forthcoming, and now BeastyQT has a window now where he is going to be approximately a metric crap ton of supply ahead, and he's going to be able to move out in a counterattack against Mana, knowing that his supply is going to be great, and those 5 medevacs that we saw earlier, Apollo, they're going to come in super useful because this army is almost all green once again.
Yeah, this could be a killing blow here. You know, 2-2 did finish as predicted, which helped out so much in that fight, and the Viking count was so incredibly high that Colossus just didn't survive very long. And 108 army supply versus 40, and BeastyQT comes marching through, hint, hint, wink, wink, DreamHack with his Serbian flag. He's marching through towards this third base of Mana, and the Polish flag is starting to, well, kind of crawl down a little bit because I don't think it's going to be out in the wind when this attack's there.
Oh, and here we go. The High Templar moving forward. He has the potential to get an excellent storm off here, but BeastyQT, wow, so smart. Snipes off the third Nexus, says, look, you're not getting that back up anytime soon, and just moves right back. But Mana's like, well, actually, I'm going to put this up right the heck now. And BeastyQT has spotted the 4th base.
Yeah, and he has 2 choices right now. He sits and waits for 3-3 to be done and cloak for his ghost, or he goes now and puts a bit of pressure on, maybe trying to snipe that base on the right-hand side, but he doesn't need to. I think he may be overextending a little bit. Picking off that base is really big. The thing is, though, that he does not have a 4th command center of his own. You know, he's on 3 command centers at the moment. He hasn't really built another one, which leads me to believe he will be looking for another attack. Whether he waits for 3-3 or not, he should be. And he's actually lifted up his one for the main, surprisingly.
Interesting. And actually, if we took a quick look at the income tab there, Mana was still actually mining more than BeastyQT simply because that 4th base was up. And here we go, forcing another cancel at the 3rd. No cancel going down, so that actually gets taken down before Mana can stop it. But Mana has been mining uninterrupted from the 4th base location, and I think that is what's allowing his production to creep back up. That 50 or 60 supply advantage that BeastyQT had before has now crept down to a 30 supply advantage, as finally now we have BeastyQT sending in a small attack force at the 4th base location. Oh, good storms trying to pick off those ghosts, but not quite killing them. Still enough energy for a couple of EMPs, and that was actually a really good engagement for BeastyQT because there was nothing stopping that attack at the 4th. So
no more storms. There's no storms whatsoever there, but there's only 3 Vikings who should get hit by a storm. The Nexus does fall down to a bunch of Marines, and now BeastyQT sits back, defends with 3-3, and as long as he defends this, he'll pick up this second game, and the series will go to another one. I'm a little bit scared about the lack of Vikings, only 3, and he's building 4, and he knows he needs to get Vikings out, so he might actually have to sacrifice his 4th base, and then just defend on the 3rd, because 3 right now, +4, 3 +4, Count Dracula says 7, so with this moving out now, 7 Vikings should be enough to bring down these Colossus. They do have +2 armor, though, which is a bit annoying.
I think so. When the Vikings join up with this army, should be okay. Pulls the SCVs from the 4th base location, scans and knows that Mana is moving out towards the 3rd as well. SCVs coming out to repair the Vikings. He knows how important they're going to be in the coming battle. Another scan goes up practically on top. Great snipe there on the... Oh my god, those EMPs, Apollo. Does anything have shields on them right now? Just a single Colossus still with shields left, and this army's going to get crushed. GG from Mana. Beautiful ghost control there from BeastyQT, and that earns him the win.
And Count Dracula says 3-3 easy. That's what he just had. 3-3 made that look easy.
He really did.
And now moving on to game number 3, which we'll find out. I think it's... what map is it? It might be, what was the first map? It was Daybreak, wasn't it?
Daybreak, followed into Cloud
I think
Kingdom.
it's Ohana, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. We'll find out in a couple moments' time. But BeastyQT played a very good game there. Mana made some very strong decisions. It's always painful to say, take it. Take my 3rd base. Take it. Just don't... I'm not looking. Just take it. It's always a painful thing as a pros player to do. But unfortunately, you have to do that a lot. Especially if you get caught like that, like Mana did. But whatever the case is, BeastyQT played a great game, and now he's going to be able to go to Metropolis, is the last map here.
And I think really the killing blow there was sending that small expedition over to the 4th base as well. I mean, when he took the 3rd base the first time, we already had the 4th base up and mining for Mana, so his income didn't really take that much of a dip. But then BeastyQT, with the second attack, finally got around to sending that expedition over to the 4th as well, and all of a sudden Mana was left without a mining 3rd or 4th, and that made life very, very difficult for him indeed. And from that point onwards, they're really a bit of a point of no return.
God damn it, another fly. God damn it.
Get it, man. It's on the escape key. Don't quit the game or anything.
Sorry, Logitech, by the way, you're a fantastic sponsor. Don't take this to heart, what I'm doing with your mouse pad. I'm in Romania at the moment.
It's not on the keyboard anymore, guys. It's okay. And we're
God
twisting
damn it,
around.
It flied off before I could even swat it.
It's probably like on the back of the monitor now. Everyone on stream can see it, and they're rooting for it.
Look at this. It's like a crumpled up Logitech official sponsor of DreamHack.
It's all right. There's a clean one over here. Not
Oh,
a
wait,
problem
I got
at all.
some,
Nice
you got
and
some
shiny.
backup ones. Thank you, Logitech,
Yep.
for the backup mouse pads. Oh, God, it's back again.
We're about to. It's on the keyboard again. It's over on the right-hand side near the numpad this time, ladies and gentlemen. He's waiting, moving into position. It's on the monitor. Let's hope it doesn't go out. And ooh,
I think
your keyboard is interesting.
I killed him. I killed it
You
because
got
it went off.
Okay, it's
All right.
down there somewhere, and I think we might have got it that time around. Mana looks like...
He's watching the replay, so you guys get to be entertained. My shit, I don't know if your screen at home, if it looks purple,
It does
it's
look
blue.
purple a bit, actually.
It's
Now I
blue.
see on the screen there. Yeah.
Purple is tomorrow. And if this shirt looks purple, you wait until tomorrow. I'm going to be looking like a grape.
It's going to be bright.
God damn it, there's another fly. It's hot in Romania, and there's flies.
They're sending
everywhere.
him in, man. They're warping them in, slowly harassing,
Yeah.
getting forward. It's on top of the remote control now.
Tilo's got a lizard tongue, so if there's any flies near him, he just goes, well.
Should wait until he's like finished his group games and just keep him standing here in front of the desk.
Yeah,
And,
you'll be glad to know, everybody, that I did test Night End. I threw water at him, holy water. I took it to a local chapel. I had the
I was wondering why you
priest-
smell of garlic this morning.
Yes, I had the priest bless my water. I threw water on him, and he turned around and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
So he's not a vampire. The rumors are not true. So you are safe next time you do see Night End at an event. He is not a vampire.
Thank goodness for that. Well, you don't have to worry, of course. And this tournament, I believe, is... Well, actually, it's being held indoors, so I guess it doesn't matter. But it is still daylight over here. So that was a good test when he walked in as well. But we're going to be loading into, ladies and gentlemen, map number 3 between Mana and BeastyQT. The series is poised at 1-1, and it all comes down to this, potentially for the top seed in their group, provided they beat their other opponents. Let's see what they can do here, because we are about to spawn on Metropolis.
Yep, remember BeastyQT won his first game of the day, and likewise did Mana for a walkover. So Mana's had a walkover.
Yep.
BeastyQT's won his first game 2-0, and we're going on to the final map of this best of 3 between potentially first and second place finishers here.
That's right, and spawning over here in the top position, ladies and gentlemen, as the red Protoss player representing Mouse Sports. What can he do here in Game 3? We have Mana. We'll be going up against the Terran player from Team Empire. A pretty convincing win there, I have to say, in that last map, but he needs to follow it through with another if he wants to take the series. It is BeastyQT.
BeastyQT, cross positions on probably one of the biggest map, if not the biggest map within the map pool. So I would not be surprised to see Nexus first, Command Center first. Most likely not Nexus first. The likelihood would be Command Center first. But as I say that, look at this. Refinery first coming down on one of the biggest maps here. So we are going to be seeing some aggression. And I think that BeastyQT's kind of hoping that Mana plays towards his usual style, a very macro-focused gateway into Nexus, Nexus first, anything along those lines. Another probe is queued up. Mana's scouting for a proxy, and he is going for a later gateway, 14 gateway, and I would not be surprised if he did not take gas in this game. And BeastyQT is going to be the one looking to punish any greedy openings.
Wow, so BeastyQT in his normal macro style, looking to maybe mix things up just a little bit here. Is he going to put down a supply depot to try and stop the scout from Mana? Because Mana is getting a probe dangerously close to BeastyQT's base right now and will potentially be able to see that the gas first has gone down. He's trying to get an SCV in, and Mana gets into the main base with his probe.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get it in there. He'll see the refinery first here. Mana will have to chrono boost a lot into the gateway, most likely. I don't think he's going to have too much time to throw down additional gateways. With the refinery first here, you basically have 150 gas as the barracks finishes, which means you can go factory and reactor if you want to. Or he could go into a fast starport and go straight for a pretty fast and much faster Banshee. And that's what Mana's really looking for with this probe. He's not going to let that probe go. No factories come down yet. There is the factory going to go down, but you can't build a reactor. When there's a probe like that around, he has to build a marine first. So Mana's going to be able to try and get as much information as possible, but is he going to get the right intel to fight against this?
Yeah, he knows that Beastie is going to want to do a little bit of her... Ooh, there we go. Just getting the supply depot down in time. And the probe in anger going to try and pick apart the Marine, but only doing the tiniest bit of damage as it goes down. And now we'll see what Beastie actually has in store. The reactor has indeed gone down on the barracks there. The factory is nearly complete as well. Let's see if he goes straight into that starport tech. Of course, he can stay on the factory tech and just pump units out, or he can go straight for those Banshees as well. Those tech routes are wide open to you when you get that amount of gas early on in the game. Let's see what he ends up doing.
And to be honest, there's no real reason for Mana to rapidly expand here because he knows he's playing against Refinery first. He knows that aggression's going to come. Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did just throw down extra production or a bunch of extra units and use Chrono Boost on that. So we'll have to see what Mana's going to do. He's already built a Sentry before taking a Nexus, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to take a super fast Nexus. All right, he is going to take a Nexus. So if he's going to take this Nexus, this could be very, very dangerous for him. He's going to have to throw the gateways down immediately after this Nexus, otherwise he will get overrun. No question about it. The Hellions are coming out 2 by 2. There's a starport, so he's going to be able to drop in the main base and immediately comes down an extra gateway. He's going to have to try and defend this as fast as possible. Some Protoss players do not feel comfortable because he is on the ropes by going for a Nexus fast here. Some players, like Rain most notably, like to go Immortals early on, like to go for a second gateway as well before even considering trying to take an expansion. But Mana does it. And is he going to be able to hold off? Is he going to take no damage?
Well, we'll find out. The Zealot at the Watchtower sees at least one Hellion now, and it's going to be doing a little bit of damage. I think they'll probably actually get the Zealot if microed correctly there. Just going to be as annoying as humanly possible. Ooh, nice there. Moving into the smoke screen to try and get a little bit of damage done on it, and it looks like the Zealot is, in fact, going to go down. But Zealots are not what BeastyQT is after at the moment. He wants to try and get into that mineral line. He's actually building a bunker behind this, so maybe he's anticipating some sort of counterattack or counter-aggression out of Mana here. An interesting move.
Absolutely, because usually the response would be just to go ahead and get down extra production before the Nexus. So he's expecting maybe a unit warp in from some way or a counterattack, as you mentioned, come in while he's doing this. But with 4 Hellions out now, what do we have actually to defend? 1 Sentry with 2 Force Fields. So he's going to be able to defend the main base to hold on for a while. Just a single Force Field would be fine, but there is a Medivac making its way across the map. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a Tech Lab thrown down onto the starport, so a Banshee can come to continue the aggression as well. 6 Hellions, though, that's a lot. Is Mana even going to have enough to defend this? I think he's at 4 Stalkers and 1 Sentry.
Oh, and 3 in the back, 3 in the front. By the looks of things, we have 3 Hellions at the Watchtower. Presumably going to be running towards the ramp as this medevac pops in. No, they're actually staying there. Okay, there we go. A little bit later, and 3 Hellions are now in the main base with a medevac. Going to try and get into the probe line. Successfully does so. Good micro with the probes, actually killing one of the Hellions before any damage is taken, and surrounding the other Hellion. But we have 3 more moving towards the natural now, and these probes really are naked without too much support. We have 12 workers killed and counting, so BeastyQT really making this aggression count here. So many more probes going down. And finally, we have Mana popping back with the Stalkers to try and stop them from leaving, but 2 of them get away as well. That was really good for BeastyQT. 15 workers killed.
All right, and that is why you don't really want to try to defend off 1 Gateway Nexus into extra production. That is why. That is why. Because you will, if played out correctly, take a lot of damage. There is an opportunity to counterattack, which is why 2 bunkers are coming down naturally. But the bunkers, it's gonna be really, really close. Medivac's gonna fall. Look at that. Mana hits it. So the main base will be defended, but the natural is gonna slow down Beastie a lot. If he'd able to get those 2 bunkers up, probably would have been really, really good. But there is a Banshee making its way into the main base. Nothing at home. He's going to have to warp in more units, and more probes could fall down here. So BeastyQT is saying, well, great, nice move. You've probably stopped me from taking the advantage I wanted, but now I'm actually going to extend the probe kills if I can even more so.
Yep, and this game, the Raven's going to be a little bit more useful because we can see the high Stalker count there from Mana, so PDD will come into play at some point. And here we go, the Banshee in the probe line. A couple of workers going down immediately. We have a warp in of 2 Stalkers, but very, very simply moving in towards the natural. There's only 1 Stalker to defend there, and more probe kills coming in for BeastyQT. He has to be pretty happy with this.
Yeah, 20 probe kills already. This one picks up 6. And that kind of says, hey, nice contain, mate, but I've just killed even more probes. And very shortly, this will be broken out. But there is a Sentry there, which is going to be a little bit frustrating. If you would imagine, the Sentry's going to be able to force field. There's an Observer there to give range and keep on pressure. So Mana's doing a really, really good job. Despite losing a lot of probes, he's still at 30 to 33 because both command centers are not being able to build a bunch of SCVs. And look at that, the reaction from BeastyQT saying, damn it, Mana, damn it. and has to build a third command center because he's playing from behind now in a little bit because of how well Mana's been able to execute this pressure, this hold, this contain. And that is really, really good here for Mousesports Mana.
I love that he saw the bunker and went, well, okay, I'm not going to engage into this bunker. What I'm going to do is harass you as much as possible against the other buildings in your wall off, and just waited for the Observer to come in very calmly, picking off a supply depot and forcing the barrack to lift off and head out as well. So very difficult times coming in for BeastyQT, trying to get the orbital command back down on the natural expansion. And a couple of SCVs, ooh, almost going out into no man's land there, but thinking better of it in the last second. 68 supply to 64 at the moment, guys, in favor of Mana, who is now also ahead in the work account, 39 to 35, despite that excellent harassment from BeastyQT in the early game.
And look at this Templar Archives coming down, the choice of tech here for Mana, rather than Immortal Colossus, as we saw previously, changing up. Oh my god, Observer. Look at that, gives the units what they need to get out just as those tanks siege up. So really, really solid play from Mana, despite losing a lot of probes, which isn't really his mistake. You know, it's not his mistake, it's more of BeastyQT's excellence and how he harassed and how he played this out. But really, really solid counter from Mana to prevent this natural from mining. Three command centers down, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Unless they're going to be on that third base, it's not going to help out that much here for BeastyQT. I mean, it's always helpful, but it's not going to bring him back into the game as much as he hopes.
Yeah, I think maybe an interesting comparison to make here would be if we took a look at that last game, BeastyQT, oh, as the Raven almost getting caught out there. BeastyQT was in a position where he was trying to hit a timing before Psionic Storm. And Storm's already about a third of the way researched in this game, Apollo, and Beasty doesn't look anywhere close to ready to be putting an attack on. And like you mentioned, he's been sieging up in his own base, trying to make sure he gets his own natural down. Wasn't able to get the bunker in front of his natural expansion up in time. So Mana just has effectively keys to the city at the moment. He's just walking all over the map, doing everything he pleases, holding both watchtowers. And he's having a really good game from this point onwards, actually.
Yeah, Storm down, gonna stop any form of attack. And then double forward, so we will see a third Nexus in a moment's time as well as Zealot Charge. So Mana's set up really, really nicely. With double forward, he's going to be able to catch up and most likely eventually overtake BeastyQT with the upgrades in this game. Armory is coming down in second engineering base. As you can see, 2-2 will start as 1-1 is through halfway most likely. But with Chrono Boost, he will be able to catch up. And there is that third Nexus. A couple more orders do go down the center map. And there is that third command center actually making its way to the third base. So BeastyQT, unfortunately, messing up his hotkeys. I do that a lot. Okay, no, it's actually going down. I was going to say, when you have all the command centers on one hotkey and you change the waypoint, you bring the command center back. But he just wants to land it because he didn't see a third base down earlier on. I think he landed a scan just now, too. No, did he? No, he didn't. Okay. Because he's actually expecting a two-base attack, which is why he's building bunkers and so on. But I'm not too sure what the reason for that was. Most likely, all those Stalkers chasing those two Marauders back. But as soon as that Banshee goes and sees that third base, he's going to be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I should have just taken the third.
Take this third base. But, you know, you have to play safe. It's 1-1. One mess up and the game could be over.
That's right. And good pick off there of the probe as the Banshee moves back in, but obviously that gives Mana a little bit of notice that it's popping in as well. A lot of Stalkers moving out right now, and he's just going to be defending nice and calmly at the natural and the third. There's really no way for that Banshee to get any more kills in edgeways, and the Observer not quite going down. I'd like to see a little bit of a pursuit there maybe with the Raven, as long as there were Marines on the high ground, and that's exactly what he's doing now.
Yeah, and he did question himself too with that third command center going down, bunkers getting salvaged, and just goes and takes it. But like I said, you have to play safe. You know, if a two-base attack come and he'd taken that third base, he'd be like, why did I not build bunkers? Having seen those Stalkers out. So I think BeastyQT played that fine. A lot of the gateways are coming down, as we can see 1-1 near completion here for Mana, but he's going to have to be very sharp on researching 2-2. So he can't build any units right now if he wants 2-2. If he builds units right now, like a high tempo, he's just morphing in, that's going to slow his 2-2 down, because 1-1 is about to finish. And if he is slow with 2-2, that's going to help out BeastyQT a lot. As we can see now that 1-1 is done and 2-2 does not start at the same time. And that is going to give BeastyQT a bit of an advantage because his 2-2 is going through and he will be able to get 3-3. If Mana warps in another high tempo or Stalker, I'm going to be very, very angry. No, he doesn't. So 2-2 is down. And he is Chrono Boosting straight into it. So he will be able to catch up eventually. By the time, they'll roughly get to 3-3 roughly the same time. So there aren't any like windows of opportunity around the upgrades in this game. It's more so going to be about position and actual army fights.
Oh, and look at this. Mana being very forward-thinking here, sending an Observer just to track the movements of this Banshee so that he gives a little bit more notice of when it's going to be popping in. We have got a High Templar there as well. And yeah, like you mentioned, there just wasn't enough gas to start 2-2 as soon as 1-1 finished because that High Templar was morphing in, but it is now well on its way. I would say 2-2 is about 3/4 of the way done here for BeastyQT and approaching the halfway mark for Mana, so he will be able to catch up and potentially overtake with Chrono Boost.
Siege up! Oh, that's such a late
dear.
siege. Good point defense drone, though. Storm's going to just destroy everything.
Oh my goodness, resetting the tank count is going to be so unbelievably useful. Excellent storms there from Mana, forcing BeastyQT back, and this is after the tanks have all disappeared as well, and all of a sudden the bio army from BeastyQT is not looking nearly as effective, and the medevacs getting sniped off as well. That is so important, because we don't even have a single medevac on the field right now. BeastyQT's bio army, after stimming back, is playing on the number of hit points they currently have.
Oh, that siege up was actually disastrous. There's like 6 tanks that did nothing there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he does have 2 tanks in good position, but he lost so much, and Mana comes in with such an advantage, which he should and never really had. And he's going to be able to cruise through this. These units are so low, as you said, there's no medevacs. Mana just sweeps up this third base, making it look incredibly easy.
Yeah, the Immortals as well, able to provide that little bit more buffer. I'd like to see the Immortals at the front of the army when he chooses to move up the ramp because of those siege tanks, but we do have some more Marines and Marauders coming in now from BeastyQT that could make that a little bit difficult. Mana just wanting, actually picking off a whole lot of SCVs here that are still long-distance mining. That's going to be very useful for him indeed, as BeastyQT drops below a 90 supply. The worker count is currently 69 to 51, so BeastyQT is still mining, but that was a lot of workers killed there.
That was a lot of workers killed here, and Mana's just warping in more and more units. He's not started 3-3. Okay, there he is, started 3-3. And as you can see, they're going to get very close to finishing 3-3 together, but another storm lands, and Mana is absolutely controlling this game now. And, well, he started off with a 1-0, went to 1-1, and now he's looking like he can take this series. And if he takes these series, considering there's 3 players in the group, Mana will go 2-0. Mana will be looking at a first-place finish.
Oh, and there we go. The High Templar doing so much damage. SCVs being pulled, but a storm on all of the SCVs. Wipe them out of existence in about half a second there. And GG from BeastyQT. What an excellent finish there from Mana. What a crucial point that was as well. Resetting the tank count at a really crucial stage of that game.
Yeah, pouncing on any opportunity he's given. And Mana now goes through as first place in the round of 64 group stage 1. Remember the format, 3 different segments, 2 group stages. We'll cut in half every time, so 64 to 32 to 16, which is where the elimination, the single elimination bracket will come in, which will come in and start today. We will be finishing off the round of 16 and going straight into the round of 8 tomorrow. But a lot of games on the way. We have another game from this segment of the initial group stage before we go on to the second.
That's right. I think Cloud versus Desro is going to be coming up.
Yes.
But first, that game was so difficult for BeastyQT at the end of it. He went from a position where he can have tanks defending at several really nice strategic locations, and he went from that to, I've only got a couple of tanks left. I have to decide where to put them. And that's never a nice place to be when you're a Terran player. And as a result of that, Mana was just comfortably sitting at the third base while continuously warping more units in. And it was just getting more and more difficult for Beastie. And let's not forget as well, those storms from Mana, they were pretty darn good, man.
Yes, Mana has a lot of storms, and they always nail what they want to nail. All right, so that's another quote for you guys. Ticking bomb is ticking. Mana nails what he wants to nail.
Nails what he wants to nail. Yeah,
so keeping it simple here at DreamHack. We are going to go to a very, very quick commercial break as Red Eye fights off the flies here in Bucharest.
Thank you so much.
There are a lot of flies here in Bucharest.
Actually, hold on. He's gone now, and there are none left. Look at this.
Excellent. So thank you, Red Eye.
You have played magic, sir.
Of course, Red Eye is a part of the casting team for this weekend, and we'll be doing some hosting. We'll be doing some a little bit later on today, and more so tomorrow when the main tournament actually happens. So, guys, stay tuned. Game 3, Desro versus Cloud, a PVT incoming next.